Is an update on OT school. The last video I did, which was my first video, was over a year ago. Well, it was a year ago. And so I think it's time for me to give a great update, a thorough update on how my first year of occupational therapy school has gone. And so, as most of you know, I began the doctorate program. We were the first cohort of doctorate students at my school, and so it's been trial and error this entire time. Like, we were basically just test dummies, to be quite honest. The first year, I must say, it went by super fast. It didn't always seem like it, of course, but it went by like really fast. I can literally sit and think about every single thing that happened last year from January until December, just like it happened like yesterday. I can tell you a story about each day almost. It's so crazy to me. So hopefully my second year and my third year flies by. So my first trimester, I should have did this like after each trimester, but I got caught up and it's honestly no excuse now. The first trimester was trying for me, very trying, just because I feel like, I don't know, it tested not only my faith, but it tested who I was as a person. My anxiety seriously got the best of me. That's when I first started seeing how easy it is for me to let my anxiety just take completely over. And so it was definitely a trying first trimester for sure. I got all A's and 1 B. The B was at 89.9, I believe. So literally 0.1 points from an A. She couldn't give it to me. I was like, girl, you know you could have gave it to me. Like, are you serious? My second trimester, I got all A's. And my third trimester, I got all A's. But it sounds like it's just like been a breeze, but seriously, it's not been a breeze. Like, day in and day out, I'm constantly thinking about school. When I'm not doing schoolwork, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what can I do? Like, do I have an assignment due tomorrow? I have an assignment that's due next week, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I have to do this assignment right now. Or I will have an assignment due in 3 weeks, and I would just be stressing about like, oh my gosh, I got 5 assignments due. How do I get this assignment done? When should I do this? And I just freak out. And I haven't learned it yet. I'm still trying to figure out how to just tone myself down and just, okay, Taryn, think about one day at a time. Write it down. Don't overdo it. Don't overwhelm yourself in the process of trying to get everything situated. It always gets done. That's what I always say. Like, I already know it's gonna get done. It always does. I always find a way to get it done. And I'm not a procrastinator at all. I don't think. I'm not. I don't get it done super early, because if I do, I would stress myself out about getting it done that early. There's some people in my class that feel like they have to be the first ones to turn it in. That is not me. I do like to go ahead and get it done so that I don't have to worry with it later on. But at the same time, I'm not like, oh my gosh, let me hurry up and turn it in before everyone else, because that puts more stress on me. And so, yeah, I feel like I've just had to figure out what works best for me, because what works good for someone else might not work great for me. We started out doing study sessions the first trimester. I started doing a study session with 2 other girls in my class, and it was okay, but I just found myself like the second and third trimester, no study groups with anyone, and I feel like I did even better, like, not studying with anyone. So, you know, some people work well in study groups, others may not. if I don't understand something or if I don't get the concept, yes, I will ask. But for the most part, I will sit and try to figure it out until I get it, because that's how I'm going to learn. Like, yes, if I'm in a study group and someone tells me or tries to coach me through it, it might make sense in the moment, or it might not. I might agree as if like, okay, yeah, I get it, but like later on I might not. So if I'm teaching it to myself, I'm actually analyzing it and trying to figure out a way that this answer is right, or a way that this case study, this is the appropriate way to go about a certain case study. Or, you know, like, I don't know, it's weird. Again, what works for you, go with what works for you. As far as family and friends go, so of course my family's not here. That was definitely something that was a little hard for me at times, but not so much. I think it was more so whenever I got overwhelmed and school just got the best of me. I didn't have anyone to like be there, like seriously be here, present with me. I wasn't able to drive up the street to my sister's house, or drive to my mama's house, or, you know, like my friends right up the street, we can go eat lunch. Like, yeah, I have my classmates, but it's different when you've been around certain people, you've grown up with these people close by, and like you don't have them there. So it was definitely hard trying to get past that at times. I've learned that trying to be in a relationship, long distance relationship in school, is definitely hard. I'm not gonna say don't do it, because again, what works for you might work for you and it might not work for me. I feel like I learned a lot about myself in that aspect as well, because not only was school a test of just like my faith and everything else, but so was my relationship. And I don't know, it's still pending. Yeah, so it definitely tested my faith a lot. And sometimes, I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't have any faith at all that I could do it. I tried to stay hopeful, but some days, like, the devil will definitely try to mess with your mind and make you think that you cannot do it. And God has shown up every time and has reminded me, like, Taryn, you doing it. You have done it. You did it a whole year. You got 1 B in the whole year. You got 1 B, and it was literally like 0.1 point from being an A. Like, you can do this, girl. And so that's how I have to talk to myself every day. I talk to myself like, you got this. Like, I had to talk crazy, girl, you got this. Like, what? Look at you. You made it. You have kept the faith even though it was hard, and you going on your 2nd year, girl. Like, okay. I started my first round. So in OT, it's called Fieldwork. So Fieldwork is like clinicals, I guess, for like nurses. So it's just called Fieldwork. Like, we go out and do fieldwork for the profession, for what we will be doing once we graduate. And so the first one was at an assisted living facility. Oh my gosh, y'all, that's where my heart is at. I love older people. The geriatric population is everything to me. One, I lost my grandmother when I was 14, and I love my grandma to death, which most people do, but like, my grandmother, I used to go over there every day while my mom was at work, and spent a lot of time with my grandma. And at the time I was young, so I felt like I took her for granted a lot of days, because I knew that she was older, but I never like realized how soon she was going to be leaving me. And so I don't know, I don't know, I miss her a lot. Again, I was 14, I'm 25 now, so lots of things has changed, but for sure I just enjoy being around her. I have older friends. For some reason, like, older adults take to me, and I don't know if it's just because I got a little old soul deep down. Like, I really be in the bed, honey. if you look, I want to be in a bed by 8 or 9 o'clock, chilling, watching TV, or just like scrolling on my phone. I ain't gotta go out like that every now and then. I can relate to them in a way, which is weird because I'm young, but it's just like, I don't know, I have such a connection with older people, and they have a connection with me, and so that's why I really want to work with the geriatric population. And so being in assisted living, it was scary because it was my first time doing field work. It was for a week, and I didn't really understand how much I could do or how much I was able to do, just because I'm a student and it was my first time. Like, I wanted to help as much as possible, but at the same time I didn't want to overstep my boundaries by this literally being my first time being a student. And so I did want to get as much experience as possible. I asked several questions. I tried to implement a lot of like interventions, treatment plans and stuff, but like, I don't know, one thing that seriously, y'all, so it was this one lady, and for some reason she stuck out amongst everybody else, and I didn't understand why, because she was so different. Like, I gave her a bath one day, and I like, the therapist I was working with, she was just like, here you go, like, give her a bath. And so I not necessarily gave her a bath because she could do a lot for herself, but I was there to make sure she didn't fall over, that she was able to reach for everything she needs to reach for, that she could, you know. And I could just tell that it was different for her. She wasn't used to it. She was used to, you know, being very independent, and now she's having somebody watch her take her shower, or just like be present while she took her shower, just for like safety, you know, concerns. And I don't know, it hurt me a lot, because I was like, oh my gosh, I might be in this place at some point when I get older, and like, knowing now that I'm very independent for myself, and like having that independence taken. And so I was able to sit in like on a social work meeting with her and her daughter, and I was just like, oh my goodness, like, it was just so sad, because her daughter, like, they had a moment where they just like cried together, and it took everything. You could tell it took everything in them to like try to hold it in. I feel like this is where I belong. Like, yes, it's going to be hard for me, just because like, it's an emotional ride. Like, these people, some people are sick, some people are trying to find their new norm, and I'm going to be the one in charge of trying to help them find that new norm and work around different ways, just like being able to adapt in certain environments, and just in life in general. So I don't know, it was a lot. And so then my second rotation was in the hospital. I enjoyed the assisted living place much better than acute care, just because acute care, inpatient, I don't really see myself working in that type of setting. I mean, if I had to, I definitely would, and I wouldn't complain about it, but that's just not necessarily, just because you don't find a connection with these people. Like, these people are in and out of the hospital just like that, and so you might see them 2 or 3 times, if even that, and then they're gone. So you don't get to form that connection. And like I say, I love having a connection with older people. And so this year I start my level 2 field work. That was level 1, and so I'll finish level 1 field work the end of this trimester. So in April, May, I think I'll be doing the next 2, which we're doing pediatrics and mental health. And so we'll go out and do our field work for that, and we'll have like our summer where we come back in the classroom and do stuff, and then in the fall is whenever we'll go off and do level 2, which I'm a little nervous about, but I got this. You know, this is 2020. I was like, clear vision, okay? Perfect vision in 2020. But until next time, people.